Welcome to our world-renowned podcast, Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray. I'm a TEDx and keynote speaker and author. Also, I'm executive producer of the movie Show Her the Money. Plus, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. Our weekly show features interviews with powerhouse women founders, funders, and change makers that are sure to inspire you. Let's go. Welcome to this week's edition of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and executive producer of Show Her the Money. As you know, Show Her the Money is our award-winning film that's been traveling the world. I'm so excited to tell you it's going to start streaming in March, which may be when this is airing. And you'll be able to find it on Apple TV and other streaming networks. So we are super excited about that. Meanwhile, how many of you know that we have a book called Show Her the Money? And that book features our next guest. And by the way, our audio book is done by our executive producer, Emmy and Golden Globe winning actress Sharon Gless from Cagney and Lacey, who's been involved with the film and been on tour with us. But she actually did the audio book. So if you haven't grabbed that yet on Amazon or wherever you get your, audio books, Audible or whatever, you have to check it out. Her voice is amazing. The stories are amazing. And today, I have on one of the people who is featured in that book, my friend and super accomplished and celebrated woman in angel investing and venture capital. Welcome to the show, Marcia Dawood.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Did I finally say your name right?
It was pretty close. Dawood.
I never am going to get it. Marcia, tell me how to say your last name.
Dawood.
Dawood. Okay. Marcia Dawood, my dear friend who I can't pronounce her name. I'm so happy to have you on today because you have a new book out. I think last time I had you on, we were talking about your other book that I love, which is right behind you on the screen, Do Good While Doing Well. And I love that book. It's so great for people getting started in angel investing or venture capital. And today we're going to talk about your new book, Unapologetic Wealth. What a great title. So I can't wait to talk about the content of that. What provoked you to write this second book?
Yeah, because who would have thought I would have written one book, let alone two books? It's crazy. So after Do Good While Doing Well came out, which is basically a book to try to demystify early stage investing, trying to get people to make it a little bit more accessible about how you could go about getting started in investing in entrepreneurs and the different innovations that they're working on that you care about. But what I found was when I spoke to, especially women, sometimes men too, but they would tell me, you know what, I'm really not even sure where my bank accounts are, and I don't even know what money I would use to invest. So all the things you're telling me are great, but it's a little bit too much for me right now. I don't really know
Right.
where this is all going.
Too
So
foreign to them.
yes.
Yeah.
So I just thought, well, maybe we need like a prequel, something that will help them to say, hey, let me be able to take a little bit more control, a little more agency, have a little bit more education around my own finances, and then I can get into doing some investing.
And isn't it so funny, Marcia? You and I have talked about this many times, how women impact 80% of the
Hmm.
buying decisions, but
So
we're
true.
not impacting even 50% of the investment decisions. For some reason, a lot of married women give that job over to their husbands, or even single women don't know where to start. And that's what I love about your books. They help women get started. And education is everything when it comes to starting down a new path, right?
Of course. Yes. And the other thing I think that women need to realize is that there's a lot of limiting beliefs that we've carried for really centuries. Our mothers, our grandmothers. I mean, think about the fact that we couldn't, as women, even get a credit card in our own name until 1974. Well, some people might think 1974 is a long time ago. It really wasn't that long ago.
It
And
was in our lifetime.
it was in our lifetime. That's right. And I just think, hey, if we could start to let women feel like not so bad, like it's not anybody's fault. It's not women's fault. It's not men's fault. It's nobody's fault. It's just how things have been. And how can we change that? We can change it by having a better mindset and awareness of it and then being able to move forward.
Yeah, taking it into our own hands. And that's what your books are allowing people to do. I love that. Don't know where to start? Well, it's simply a click on Amazon or wherever you get your books and then picking up the book and reading it. Knowledge is power, right? So we
That's
no,
right.
no longer can say we don't know where to start. Another interesting topic is, I encounter a lot of women over 50 and, suggesting to them, hey, why don't you become an angel investor? Why don't you invest in venture capital? It's why we made the movie, right? You and I
Right.
agreed that we needed an entertaining, engaging storytelling way to tell people what is venture capital, how exciting and fascinating it is, and how you probably could be an investor in it, if not get funding from it as an entrepreneur. Or as a career path, which we're starting to talk about on our college tour as we're teaching younger women about venture capital. But meanwhile, older women tend to say things like this: well, my financial advisor handles all of that, and they
Mhm.
have me in stocks and bonds and CDs and cash and savings. And I would say to them, you need to look further into this and have some say so, because don't you want to make an impact with your money as well as a profit? And that's what I loved about your title, Doing Good While Doing Well, is that what you're saying is you can do good and still do well. And
That's
I love
right.
that philosophy because, yes, you can invest in things that make a difference and make a profit, right? I know you're a big advocate of that.
Of course. Yeah. And the other thing I think people don't realize when it comes to financial planners, and a lot of them are wonderful, don't get me wrong, but they are aligned as far as their compensation with the types of investments that they put their clients into. So you may be invested in a mutual fund or some type of a product where they're getting a kickback of 1% or something like that on your assets being in that particular product. So I always tell people, like, just know where your money is and know what the fees are that are associated with that. Because in a lot of cases, you may be thinking that you're making money because you do see the numbers go up, especially in the last couple of years. We've had a fairly decent, run in the stock market, but it can get a little bit pricey when it comes to the fees, especially if they're hidden and you don't even know they're there.
Right. And then a 10 or 20-year duration. People in venture capital have done the research that says, your average return on venture capital can be as much as 20%, where the average on the public stock market is around 10%. So,
That's right.
first of all, you have to understand what's the difference between the public market, where you're probably
Mhm.
buying your stocks, whether it's Facebook or Uber or whatever, and the private equity market or venture capital market, where you're investing in things before they go public. And that's really where a lot of the profits are made. This is where a lot of men make a lot of money and that women have not been privy to, right? And that's what we want them to know. We're not saying put your whole portfolio in there because we're not financial advisors, but we're saying be aware of alternative wealth investing assets that you could take 2 to 5% of your portfolio and put them over there, make a difference, have the opportunity to make a tremendous profit. And also, what I love about it, and I think you do too, Marcia, is that you get to meet the people you're investing in. You would never do that on the
Yes.
public market, right? Tell me about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I just love I call it my golf course. My husband plays a lot of golf and he meets all these really cool people when he plays golf. And I thought, well, I don't play golf and I don't really want to play golf. So, where am I going to meet people? Well, I met so many people in the angel investing world other investors who I would be talking to about the possibility of investing in a company. That's a really interesting conversation to have with somebody, especially if you don't know them very well. You get to know people pretty quickly if you're having a conversation about whether or not you're going to invest in a company, all of the different reasons why you would or wouldn't do that. So that's a great way to meet people. And then, like you're saying, getting to know the founders and getting to really understand kind of the why behind what they're doing and what is the big problem that they're trying to solve. I love finding out all about that.
I do too. It's so intriguing.
Mhm.
And Unapologetic Wealth, your book, um, you know, the reason people should read your book as opposed to others, in my opinion, you have such a wealth of, um, knowledge and expertise. You were the past chair of the Angel Capital Association, which everyone should know about. People are always asking me, how do I become an angel? How do I find an angel group? I think that's a
Right.
good place to start, right?
Yeah.
You also sit on the board of the SEC for the Small Business Advisory a board, and
Committee.
so that also allows you to have a great degree of knowledge of what the SEC laws and rules are.
Hmm.
Um, Let's also mention that you have a podcast, um, The Angel Next Door, right?
That's right.
Yes,
Yep.
love that. Been on that.
Hmm.
You have great guests on it. Wonderful information. Everybody should be listening to that podcast as well as reading the book. I do think it's all these books and podcasts out there that give a wealth of information. And by the way, our sheangelinvestors.com site has a robust amount of resources, including Marcia's book and podcast. And so that's a great place to find people to connect with, whether it's venture funds or groups or just resources of how do you build your or scale your business? How do you build or scale your wealth? We're all about that. How do we empower women with enough tools, right?
That's right. Yes. And the new book is a little bit different in the sense that I think it's more of a gateway for people to be able to really think about their money differently, especially women, and really start to think about how do I want my money and my values to align. And I do have the reader really take a hard look at what are the things that they really care about. And I say that in a way that to think, well, sometimes you see people and they live in like a really big house or they're driving a really fancy car or they're doing whatever they're doing with their money, but they're not really happy. And I'm not going to say that money can buy happiness because we know that that's not true. But you also want to believe that if you align your money and your values, then maybe that will make you happier. Maybe not living in such a big house or not spending your money on whatever it is that you're spending it on and actually being able to have more time to spend with your children or to spend with your family. Maybe I talk in the book about time wealth, like that example, relationship wealth, health wealth, just being able to spend more time for self-care. That's also something to be thinking about when you think about wealth. So the book is really about how to align not just your money, but your whole life with your values.
I love that. It sounds like everybody should read this book. Um, and also, what I wanted to say is that a lot of women will give to charity, especially ones that, like you just described, they have a big house, they have nice cars. They think giving to charity is all the legacy they need, all the good they need to be giving back to the world. But I think what a lot of them don't realize, and this is something we've been trying to enlighten people with the movie that we've been on tour with, right, is that you can make as much or even more impact by investing in women entrepreneurs. First of all, they make a great investment, right? What are the statistics?
Oh yeah, well, first of all, female founders make excellent decisions, and female investors are doing much better than their male counterparts. And I think a lot of it is because they really do their diligence. They are very thoughtful about the decisions that they make. They don't make decisions on a whim. They're not really interested in a get rich quick scheme. They're really interested in aligning their money with what it is that they truly care about.
And I think it's also because it's so difficult to get the funding for women
Hmm.
that when they do get it, they're very thoughtful and smart with it.
That's right.
When it comes so easy to men, they kind of don't, take it to heart how hard it is to get the funding because for them it's not. And
Right.
so much of it is wasted or lost. That's why women return 60%,
That's
excuse
right.
me, 60 cents on the dollar for every uh, for every dollar they get in funding, but men only 38 cents. So who are you going to invest in, right? So it makes perfect sense for women to step outside their comfort zone of just investing in charities and looking at how could they take a percentage of their portfolio and invest in not just women for the sake of women, but because half the population is women and they have the ideas and innovations that are going to help make the world a better place, impacting things like women's health, the
Mhm.
environment, the planet for our children. These are the things women care about. If they really care about them, they're going to invest in angel investing and venture capital in women innovators. I always say you don't have to have the great idea, but you can invest in someone who does. And that's
That's
the
right.
cool thing about stepping into angel or venture capital investing. You're coming in and meeting firsthand, face to face, women with genius ideas that will just absolutely blow you away. Can you think of any that you invested in the past year or two that, you just went, "Whoa, that's an amazing idea."
Yeah, well, I mean, to your point about women's health, there is so much that needs to be innovated. I mean, really, we could name any type of female product, and I don't think it's been innovated in maybe like 50 years.
Exactly.
And also the all of the health concerns that women have, heart disease is a good example. For women, heart disease is a real huge problem, but a lot of the research and the clinical trials and all of those things have been done on men. Well, women are not little men. Like we have completely different systems, and we really need to have our own set of research. So that is something alone that I feel super passionate about. But, not to mention all of the reproductive and all the other things that would go into that. So, like healthcare alone, there is just so much that needs to be done. And then all of the things that women think about because they're the ones who have to live in their house and raise the children and do all of the things. Like when they encounter a problem, if they really can't find a solution for it, in a lot of cases, we see entrepreneurs that find the solution and make it themselves.
Absolutely. I know we were at the Women's Venture Summit where a woman has a new contraption for gynecological exams that, is more comfortable, actually serves the doctor better in being able to assess things. Like
Mhm.
you said, hasn't been changed in 50 years, but a
Right.
woman comes up with a solution. Women need to invest in that solution. I'm also thinking of a friend that's in tech, creating a solution for large companies like Microsoft that she and her team used to work for, and they saw a flaw, and now they're all getting on a team together to fix that flaw, having to do with, software and AI. And women are amazing, smart innovators. And we're only getting 2% of venture capital funding. We need to change that. And the
Right.
best way, right, is for us to take it into our own hands. It wasn't that long ago that the angel investors that were women was only like 10 or 12%, but now it's 40% of women are angel investors. They're not investing as much as men, but still 40%. Now we're still only getting 2% of venture capital. They
Hmm.
need to read books like yours and see our movie, Show Her the Money, to learn about what is venture capital and how does it impact what the future services and products are going to be that we are likely going to be the ones purchasing. And so we want to say so in that, right? And so it's
Absolutely.
such a fascinating world to step into.
It really is. And you're right. There has been a lot of forward moving progress in getting more women to participate at the angel level. But again, just like you said, it's not the type of dollars that you're seeing at the venture level. So when these companies want to grow and scale, and we really want to start to see things that would be able to impact our entire like country or even our entire world, you're talking about needing a lot bigger dollars. And that's where venture capital comes into play. And considering that we really don't have as many female decision makers in the venture capital world, even though it's getting better at the angel world, it still isn't where it needs to be at the venture capital world. So if we could start to actually push that needle forward too, it would help.
Absolutely. And speaking of our movie, because you're a co-producer on it, Show Her the Money, we are so excited that it's going to be streaming. Marcia is one of our sponsors of our rollout in March, which is Women's History Month. We have videos that we just filmed with Sharon Gless, Dawn LaFrida, and Elizabeth from SoGal Ventures. That will be rolling out on television and online to promote that you can finally get Show Her the Money on these streaming platforms such as Apple TV and others. So we are super excited about that, right?
I cannot wait. I have had so many people asking me, when is it going to be on streaming? We want to see it again. They want to see it again. The people who have already seen it. And of course, they've told all their friends, and their friends didn't get to see it at a screening. So now they want to all see it. So it's just
Yeah.
going to be, I can't wait.
Right. And of course, we took it on this 100 city tour around the world because we felt like there's a certain magic in getting, 100 or 300 or 400 women in a room with men that are also loving the movie to watch it on the big screen and then talk about it after. And that's really what's made it a movement, as we call it,
Yes.
movement and a movement. And that's worked really well for us. But it is time for us to be able to stream so everyone in the world has access to our award-winning movie. And so Show Her the Money will be accessible on streaming in March, which is probably when this is airing. So you can go over and grab that on your streaming networks. Just put in Show Her the Money and it'll pop up and you can rent it or buy it and definitely share it with your friends. And also be sure to go on today and buy Unapologetic Wealth, the book, to really help launch your investing future. Great way to start. And Marcia, thanks so much for taking the time to talk about your book today and also to write the book. I know that's no easy feat.
Yes, thank you. No, it was actually a lot of fun. I had a lot of women who really wanted to tell me their money stories. And so the subtitle of the book is Rewrite Your Money Story from Any Beginning. And it's so interesting, all of the stories I got to hear along the way, and many of them made it into the book. I was trying to show stories that could show a beginning, a middle, and an ending of how women were able to kind of use their money for good. And I think it's going to be really interesting when it comes out. And then hopefully that will just spark more and more conversations about money so that more people will start investing.
I love that. And, I think it's inspirational to read someone else's story because I'm sure in that book, everyone will relate to at least one of those stories and say, oh, that's me. I
That's
could be
right.
doing this too, right?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, thanks, Marcia. I appreciate you. I know you're
Thank
back and
you.
forth, North Carolina to New York. I know you're coming to us from New York today. Always been so glad to have you and your beautiful energy be a part of our Show Her the Money film and book and tour. And just really appreciate you writing these books that are going to really help move the needle by getting more women, uh, you know, educated about investing in venture capital and angel investing. So thanks for all you do, and thanks for taking the time to be on today.
Thanks for having me, and thank you for all you do.
And how do we reach you? What's the best way to reach Marcia Dawood?
Just go right on to my website. It's just my name, MarciaDawood.com, and all the information's there. In fact, you can get the first chapter of both of my books for free if you go there.
Oh, love that. Love that. Go get it for free, everybody.
That's right.
All right. Well, make it a great week, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to check out also our movie site, showherthemoneymovie.com. You can also book a group screening still. We're headed right now to Tulsa, let's see, Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, Boston, New York, and somewhere else exciting. Anyway, you'll look at our screenings on the site and follow us. We'd love to meet you in some cities. And we appreciate your tuning in and taking the time to learn about venture capital, angel investing, Everybody, look both Marcia Dawood up and Catherine Gray on LinkedIn. We'd love to connect with you. Thanks for tuning in and make it a great week. Thanks, Marcia.
Thank you.